Yeah, good morning, everyone. It's a great time out here again at our monthly event. And this today we'll be having two very special guests that will be sharing with us in the next 1 hour. We are really hopeful that we all will follow through, and we are very certain that the event itself will be beneficial to us all. Without further ado, I'll be inviting our guest speakers who will be sharing with us shortly. So we have a broad theme, which is basically around assessing opportunities in tech for Africans, but we are breaking it down each month into different aspects and different areas. And today, we'll be having two guests, the first of whom is a very special friend and brother and a great achiever, Mr. Kenneth Oguvze. I think I didn't mess up that name. Uh, yeah, who is the president of, sorry, let me get that right. Is the president of Africa Canada Trade and Investment Venture. He's a great achiever, recently awarded the most inspiring immigrant in Eastern Canada, and who has lived on different continents, including Asia, Europe, North America, and even Africa itself. This morning we'll be sharing, not from a personal perspective, some of his own experience to encourage the young fellas amongst us on how to assess opportunities largely. Good morning, Mr. Kenneth. How are you doing today, sir?
Good morning. How are you doing? It's great to be here with you all, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, yeah. We are so glad to have you here also. I'm sorry that we came on quite a short notice, but we are so delighted to have you here today. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, please?
Yes. So first of all, I'm humbled to be, in the midst of the future. I call it the future because I think, based on my discussion with you, Tayo, I understand we have a lot of intelligent young people who are like live at the moment, watching and really looking to hear from my perspective. So I appreciate the platform and the opportunity to be here to speak to them, have this discussion, because I call it discussion because it's not really me speaking. It's more or less like us having a conversation, because I think knowledge is a two-way thing. So I was born in Nigeria, as you can tell. I was born in Nigeria, but I left the shores of Nigeria 17 years ago, specifically. And in the course of my work and education, I have been privileged to, move around a little bit. I've lived in 5 different countries. And then now I live here in Canada, Nova Scotia, to be precise, which is on the eastern part of Canada. It's 7 o'clock. It's 7:07 here, so we're about 5 hours behind you guys in Nigeria. People are in different parts of the world joining, I'm sure. So it's kind of like we have different time zones. I run a business here. I am the CEO, founder of my company, which is called Africa Canada Trade Investment Ventures. And what do we really do? We promote trade, business, investments between West Africa and Canada. So pretty much, working closely with government and non-government actors in terms of, pushing forward the benefits of trade between Canada and West Africa. So West Africa is a region where, apart from the US and Europe, there's a lot of interest. But in Canada, we've not seen that much traction. So what we've been doing the last 5 years really has been around working with stakeholders, highlighting the benefit, creating all those connections, organizing webinars, trade and business summits, business missions, really to promote all of those whole businesses. So, and we work in different sectors, ranging from, agriculture, natural resources, mining, and even tech. We have worked sometimes with, Canadian businesses and trying to like see how we can create those connections with our counterparts in West Africa. So that's a summary of what we really do as a business. And as the discussion progresses, I'll probably maybe make some reference, from my work.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to, my next question would be, for a young person out of Nigeria, just like you, what are the opportunities? Do you think that a young person coming out of Nigeria trying to walk the path you have walked do you think it's something that is doable? Do you think it's something that is possible for somebody coming out, trying to just skill up and, be an export to the world, to the global sphere, and be of good, how do I put it now? Be valuable to the world as a whole. How easy do you think that track will be? How possible do you think it is for just an average person, no connection, nothing, just skills, brains, and grit?
Great question, and I'm sure my dear colleague, friend, brother Jide would also have some insights about this. I'm not sure if he's on now, but I think he should be. But from my own perspective, I tell people, we've moved into like what we call a digital economy, and pretty much these days, all you need is a phone, a computer, and internet connection, and you have, limitless opportunities, really. And I think the biggest challenge for people is about accessing information. Where do we access information? So the information is out there, but the problem typically for most young entrepreneurs, especially in the part of the world like West Africa, is around where do we access those information? How do we, who can signpost me to those information? But I think for me, the biggest thing which I would typically advise would be around everything we do right now boils down to one thing: problem solving. So we understand how we face a lot of challenges, in the world, but from an economic standpoint, infrastructure and what have you. And I think we are at that stage where my basic advice would be around, instead of trying to think about, I want to set up a business, I want to do all of this, pick a problem, start looking into problems, because these days no one buys products or services. People buy solutions. It has to be solution focused. So yes, I understand there are geographical challenges. I understand sometimes we do have infrastructural challenges because of the fact that, with all the political and economic issues which are existing in that part of the world. But I think we still have to look at the opportunities existing. Like I always say, one of the reasons I love technology is when you have some of the fragile states, or when I mean states in this context, I mean countries where, you kind of feel like the government is not living up to expectation in terms of providing support to individuals. Tech is one of those few areas where you pretty much, the government cannot really be a showstopper, because if you look at most of the other things, infrastructure, I need roads to transport my goods. The government didn't fix the road. I need this, I need that. But when you come to tech, yes, I understand there might be some other challenges, but the good thing around it is really, I have my data, I have my computer, my mobile phone, and then with that, I can start thinking of what can I develop, what can I put together to solve a problem, and hopefully scale it up. So yes, scaling it up is where some of those challenges come in, in terms of people say, okay, I have this product, but I need some support to be able to, financial support or whatever it is, to be able to scale it up, sell it to the global market. But like I said, sometimes you just need to take your time, look at what are the resources out there and how can I key into it. There are so many ecosystems, there are so many community tech hubs where, you have individuals from across the world where you can key in there, exchange knowledge, and probably even get more information to scale up what you want to do. It takes time. We just have to understand that these things are not some things that happen overnight. But like I say, we just need to focus on where opportunity is going, not where opportunity is. And that's all about this whole thing about problem solving, digital economy tied into job creation and, improving the lives of people. So, yeah, that's all I have. I don't know if Mr. Jide wants to, at this point, you want to bring him on.
Let me, we were hoping to have a session with you then with Mr. Jide, but since he's here, I think it would be great to have, to have his input on these questions also. So please permit me briefly to introduce to you our second guest for today, who is Mr. Jide Adesalu, who is the CEO of Microhills International, which is a software development company based in Canada, and a company that have, a long time, a long time footprint of excellence in both in Canada and internationally. We are so privileged to have you here this morning on your side and afternoon on our side. Welcome, Mr. Jide. How are you today, sir?
Good morning. Good afternoon. Nice to be here with you, with everyone. It's a privilege for me to speak with you all on this very important topic. Yeah, it's all about initiatives, technology, ideas, innovations. It has come to light that, look, without innovations, we are all going to sink. So what is sustaining the world right now is innovations, because there will always be problems. And in the midst of that, there will be opportunities. So like Ken said earlier, opportunities come when there is a problem to solve. And it's all about focusing on that. How can I solve that problem? How can I add value to my community, to my environment? So in the past, what we do is think about how can I get rich? How can I make money? But the digital economy has shown that it's all about pursuing what problems can I solve? And there will always be problems out there. And we are in a unique environment where we have technology at our, disposal. I mean, environment, you are in technology field where you can always look at what new technologies are there, where can I apply it, what can I solve? In the process of solving problems, you are adding values. And when you add value, you will make money. So for me, it's all about innovations and adding values, solving problems, and then you surely will make it. Yeah. So for Microhills, it's all about what problems are we solving right now? What is current? Listen to the pulse of the economy. Listen to what's happening in the world. What is the current challenges that people are facing in my neighborhood, in the businesses around me, internationally, locally, and focus on just one. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. You have talked about, solving problems, bringing up innovations and the likes. And I would say in my line of work, I've met a lot of young people, all of them with great ideas, all of them with great innovative ideas, but translating it from idea to something that can solve a real problem seems to be a big challenge. Some people tend to believe they need money. Some people tend to believe they need a platform. Some people believe they need help. They need and a lot of things. So eventually, a lot of these great ideas never leave their head, never come to fruition. So the question I will ask is, you have done this over time. You have done this over and over. You have had a great idea that you brought alive and things like that. What will you advise for a young person full of ideas, full of energy, the vibe, the strength is there, but you really want to, if you look all around us in Nigeria, there are problems everywhere. And there are people with, when you go on Twitter and there are people providing suggestions of solutions that make real sense, but they never come to life. So what will you suggest as a step for somebody like that to take to begin to create those solutions from those great ideas that they have? Mr. Ken, let's hear from you first, sir.
Okay.
Okay, I think Gina will do more justice to this question than myself. But I think, and I can speak mainly from my perspective, which is more like from a businessman perspective. A lot of times I have been involved with some of the venture capital platforms. Some of the platforms whereby individuals, both tech people, scientists, they bring some of the wonderful ideas they have, and they are looking for, let's say, people to fund it. And there are a lot of brilliant ideas. And from a business standpoint, a businessman, excuse me, a businessman is looking beyond how beautiful the idea is. It's around, how can I commercialize this product? How are the individuals who are putting this product forward ready? I think a lot of time, one of the biggest mistakes we have is that if I have a product, the next step for me is to get money to make it work. No, there are a lot of steps in between. One of it is around improving your business acumen, because sometimes you have 30 seconds to pitch this to an individual. So even if you get the opportunity, you don't work with me and say to me, I have this brilliant idea, and I'm asking you, okay, tell me a little bit about the financial. Have you done any market study? Have you done any feasibility studies? Can you show me what some of these details are? And you don't really have it. Then I walk away, because a lot of business people, yes, they are there to do some work, which some of it could be very altruistic if you want to look at it that way. But at the end of the day, the most important piece is that, how can it translate into money making for me? So I am addressing this based on someone who is a businessman and someone who has been, opportune to sit on those panels where we look at young, intelligent people. Some of them will say to them, you know what, go back and come back in a few months or a year and we'll talk to you, because we think like there are some fundamentals which you have not addressed, which some of it is based on the profitability, those market research, all of those pieces, which sometimes some of it costs money as well, unfortunately. But I think what I would really say is that, understand the fact that when you're taking this business or innovative ideas to people who fund it, they are money people. There are a lot of steps in between you need to ensure you have covered. Otherwise, you keep meeting the same barrier and stumbling block, feeling no one is going to give you an opportunity. But it's a challenging world. There are 1 million beautiful ideas there, and like I always say, it's not about how beautiful the idea is, it's about the execution at the end of the day. And how can I really mitigate my risk? Preparation, how prepared is this individual? Have they given me all the information I need? Then I want to just then venture into saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to put my money into this, or I'm going to refer you to someone who can help you move this forward. But I'll pass it to Mr. Adesolu to probably take it from there. That's my perspective.
Yeah, thank you for that. Mr. Adesolu, please, can we hear from your own views, sir, as regards this?
Okay, thank you. This is like Ken mentioned, this is an area that we experience almost on daily basis.
Yeah.
People have ideas and they would like to bring it to fruition, but we most of the time focus on the problem around the ideas, and we don't focus around the solution. So let me give you an example. Somebody has got an idea to create an app that provides social media connection. And then you think, okay, Facebook is not doing enough and WhatsApp is not doing enough, and I want to create my own. And when I create it, it's going to be better than what Facebook has created. Okay, so you start, first of all, by putting your ideas down. Then you start analyzing the idea. What people also don't know is that the internet, your Google, your Yahoo, has got so much information that you can ever imagine. From bringing, from the idea initiation, the concepts, the building blocks of the ideas, you need to put all these things down and analyze them critically. So what do you need to bring this idea into fruition? Do you need to understand the data structure that you're going to put in place? What kind of people are going to use this? What problem is it going to solve? What am I addressing? How am I going to make money out of this? How many people is this going to affect? Are there other solutions already in the market that are addressing this problem? Do I understand those solutions already in the market? Do I need to reinvent the wheel? Or do I take up something that is already created and build it more? So most of the time, when we have ideas, we don't sit down to analyze it in detail. To really look at what problem am I solving? What is the pain of my clients that I'm removing? Like Ken said, there is no good idea that would never get funding. People are out there waiting for ideas that they can fund. But because these ideas, you don't put them together, you don't have any analysis, you don't have any market survey, you don't have any project plan, you don't have anything, no business analysis, nothing. You can't move forward from there. So if you're building a system, you're looking at, okay, what kind of data am I going to use in this system? How many people is this going to affect? What platform am I going to build it on? How am I going to deploy it? Is it a web app? Is it a mobile app? So it's first of all putting the idea on the ground, challenging the idea thoroughly, and beginning to build the building blocks. Let me give you an example in Canada. The immigration system in Canada favors people with ideas. If you have an idea that is thoroughly analyzed, the government of Canada will not only give you the express immigration to come to Canada, but they will pay for the entire idea from beginning to the end. So most of the time, it's not about, I don't have money to do it. It's about your idea is not clear enough. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very much, sir. My next question, I would like to ask individually. First, I will direct it to Mr. Ken, then to you, sir. Mr. Ken, I would like to ask this question. You run a company that kind of link Africa to Canada, with trade opportunities, and I'm sure in the course of work, you have opened up channel to a lot of possibilities. I want to ask you, what are the areas that you think are being underutilized or being underserved in the line of work because in Nigeria, one thing is people follow trends. So when something becomes trendy, everybody goes in that direction. But there are many other opportunities that people are not looking at. There are many other things that we could have been, taking advantage of that people are not really doing anything about. Have you identified areas like that? Maybe in terms of export, maybe in terms of digital export, or something even bigger? Are there areas like that you think in the future will be a big boomer, but most people are not really focusing or looking into it? Are there things like that? We'll be glad if you can share with us.
So I think this would vary, and so one of the biggest challenges we've been experiencing typically has been, historically, organizations that are in a good position to export or import, products between the two regions, so between Canada and West Africa, have to be pretty much larger organizations, because obviously the cost of exports and all the legislation and regulations which you have to meet, some of the smaller companies find it very, very, intimidating and very complicated. And that's not too that's not a we're not surprised hearing that, because it's more like trade and all of that. But I think if you want to look at it in terms of opportunities, I want to look at it more around organizations that typically would not be able to export a good or service, but they can export a good or service because of less barriers. So we are talking about one right now, technology. I think there are a lot of organizations in Canada or globally that do have wonderful technology sometimes, and they feel like, we have been able to deploy these technologies working in our part of the world, and there are opportunities to deploy this sort of technologies in some of the developing world, but we would want to work with partners who can help us to localize this technology, to align it with the unique environment which users will find themselves. So that is one opportunity I think exists, which is kind of undertapped. The good thing with that opportunity is the fact that there isn't any trade cost, there isn't any clearing cost or customs involved. The most important thing really is about the organization in the receiving country, like West Africa. Do they have a platform whereby they have knowledgeable people, they have some level of resources to be able to work with this company, outside, to say, what, listen, right now, we are ready, we have all this thing, let's partner with you. You could become our strategic partner, you could help us build some capacity, and we could help you move your products here. But because I don't believe in just taking the product and dumping it in West Africa, because most times it doesn't work, but we can help you walk through a process whereby we could tweak it to the local environment and then market the product, and then even gradually scale it up and make it better. And we have actually seen times whereby even other countries have adopted technologies which they deployed to like a developing country, and then ended up turning around to use some of it back, because they've seen like some of these smart people existing in places like West Africa doing some magic, and they're like, wow, we didn't know this technology we had could actually get to this level of efficiency. So that is actually one of the key areas. The other area I think there are opportunities is around training and development. I think, I have seen there are a lot of things there are a lot of information which I think individuals in some of the developing countries can actually leverage on around training. So basically, you might have organizations in a part of the world who have, you have subject matter experts, and they need partners to be able to work with them to deliver some of those training locally. The good thing now is we moved into a virtual world, so it's actually easier to be able to work with them to deliver this training. So I think for me, I will stop at that. And the reason why I focus on these two areas are, like you listened to me the first time, all you really need is a laptop and data. So some of those challenges, because I like to focus on opportunities and forget about those challenges. So some of those challenges are not really a discussion so much around, oh, we need a container to export this good, we need custom regulation, we need to pay 20,000 charges, and all of those. A lot of those become like sort of eliminated. So those are two areas I would want to speak about, and I'll probably just pass it to Jide to see what he has to say.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Adesalu, I would like to tweak it a bit.
Okay.
You have worked in tech, you run a tech company in Canada, and what opportunities do you think exist in that space? For, there are a lot of companies in Nigeria, people will say, it's a slang now that people say that, build globally, don't just build local solutions and things like that. But you will see that largely, most of our solutions don't transcend just our local environment. We are not able to really build, for beyond our space. What opportunities do you think exist in this space? What limitations do you think? Is it just a mentality thing, or are there really barriers that are preventing people? You see companies that have been in Nigeria 20 years, 15 years, but all they build for, maximum maybe for another country in Africa. They are not able to really go ahead and build for, Canada, for other countries like that and things like that. What do you think the challenges are? That's number one. Then number two, what opportunities do you think exist in that space?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. Well, the challenges are enormous. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, there are challenges with having access to materials, having computers, having power, having data connection and all that. But it still works in a way. We still manage to, browse and chats in social media and spend hours on end on connecting with people. So the same time we use in doing that, we can also use it in gathering information from the internet. Like I said earlier, the internet has got so much information. There are research papers, there are projects that people have done in the past, there are free codes that people are sharing. And so it's a lot of hard work to actually sit down and focus in a particular area and dig deep into it. So, and this is where I see a lot of people not wanting to apply themselves to it. They can't sit down for 1 or 2 hours analyzing a problem without being distracted. So, talking of where there are opportunities for tech people, there are a lot of opportunities in coding. So I've heard people call me from India, my office, and say, we want to speak to the CEO of the company. What is the issue? It's about programming, it's about coding. Okay, speak to our operations manager. And I want to hear from the background what these people are talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Oh, we have learned how to do coding in Python 3, which is a new release of Python programming language. And we have developed a few things we can show you. So if you have projects in your company, we don't mind building a small package for you. You don't have to pay. Just give us the area to code for you. When we finish coding, I will pay you. I mean, when we finish coding, then you pay us. So that's really aggressive. You are going out of your comfort zone. You already have a skill that you know that you have put to practice, and you are calling people that you can do it for them, and you're even giving them guarantees that, look, you don't have to pay me. Let me just do it for you. When I finish doing it, then you can pay me. So one other area is in the game industry. Game in the Western world is a multi-billion-dollar business. There's so much industry around gaming. There are people who are building just interfaces, APIs for games. There are people who are building design for games. There are people who are doing just the coding, raw coding, for games. There are people who are creating the concepts around games in the industry. And the gaming companies are constantly looking for developers because there are they have so many projects at different stages. They are running out of developers from all over the place. So, and that's what the Indian guys are having over us, because average Indian guy who has laid his hand on computers has already learned how to code in 4 or 5 different languages. And not only learning how to code in it, they are already doing something in it. So you can start with building little things around your house, like, an appointment system. Recently, a guy just released an appointment system, just an appointment system, and he has been able to grow that business to over $1 million within 2 years. Wow. We all have appointment system on our email, or on our Outlook or something, but the guy looks at this appointment system and feels it doesn't have that user experience and user interface that will make big companies to really want to use it, and make it more robust, and pull it out of your Gmail and your Outlook, and made it on its own. And before, you can't believe it, just an appointment system, this company has grown into millions of dollars already. So apart from coding, you have data analytics. The world lives on data. With data, you can predict what tomorrow is going to be. You can predict what the economy is going to be. You know, can you believe that data mining engineers from here, from US, from Canada, are helping politicians back home in Nigeria to predict where they can win and where they cannot win in the elections, based on data that they have gathered over time. So you can gather so much data about Nigeria, and most of this data are also available online, that can really point to where the issues are. That's the beauty of data. So there seems to be so many areas that people can focus on, but it's just starting small. If it is learning how to code, learn that coding in detail and start building something. For example, somebody started building an app recently in Nigeria. He has already made so much money now. I mean, so much international recognition. The payment platform. Before that time, we have the eTransact. We have one other one. But people still see that these payment platforms, there is still opportunity there. There are some things that are not perfect in what they are doing. There are some stumbling blocks. There are some market share they are not able to cover. There are some people that are not able to have access to their system. They look at this, focus on what the issues are, and try to provide solution to that particular issue that those people cannot cover. So it's about starting small and knowing what you know in detail, and being able to say anywhere and say, I know how to code in Java. I know it in detail. I can wake up from my sleep and write lines of Java codes for you. People are, looking for people. Even my company, we are looking for people. Somebody I can say, can you develop an interface for me that does this? This is the data. This is the platform. This is the connection. Can you deliver this in 2 days, in 3 days? But when you give people such opportunities, they start going around and struggling, and they can't produce anything. Because they've not really applied themselves to it. So it's also about hard work. Nothing in life comes easy. You need to put hours and hours and hours in it, believing in yourself, seeing yourself succeeding in it, and you will succeed eventually.
Thank you very much, sir, for that. Shortly, I'll be taking questions from some of our students. I have one on the screen already saying how can one leverage the rising tech scene in Nigeria to be able to take outsourcing job from Canada and the US, just as the case of India. I think you have mentioned in passing some of the things that can be done, but I would just like, just a summary on that again.
So I didn't get that. Texting.
So it's saying, how can one position him or herself to begin to take outsourced jobs from other countries like most Indians do today? But I believe you have mentioned it, in what you said earlier, but just give a comment on that. Then we'll move to the next question.
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, you need to focus on a particular area. Do you want to be a guy that does coding? How much of coding do you know? How much practice have you done with coding? Have you developed something before? pick up something around your neighborhood, around your studies, your home, your office, your street, whatever. There is always something to develop. Once you are comfortable with it and you have produced something, then you can start selling yourself to the outside world. You can even create a website, showcasing the codes. Creating website right there nowadays is almost free. You can get on there and get a free website and post codes there. You can also do a research on what are tech companies, where are the tech companies out there. There's also a company there in Nigeria called Andela, which is also growing developers and selling them to the world. So you can also grow your own Andela. People come together, develop codes, share ideas on codes, and then from there, you can also give cold calls to companies, Google companies, tech companies. Tell them, I have libraries of JavaScript. I know you are working on this project. Can I be part of it? So it's about developing yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Kennedy, do you want to say something on that before we move to the next question?
Well, I mean, I think Jidis kind of said it all. I think if I understand too, there are some platforms where people can actually put their website, their resumes for freelance work. I think a lot of times when it has to do with, especially sourcing work outside Nigeria, one of the places people struggle to is the marketing, the branding. How do you sell yourself? You would have all the skills, but you also have to understand how do you sell yourself using international language in quotes. So there are certain things. Go into, spend time, do research. Look at what some of the accomplished individuals in what you want to be. How are they selling themselves? How are they branding themselves? That is usually a very good way, because remember, sometimes individuals are inundated with emails and calls and all of this, and they have to just sift through one or two. So I think my first advice would be, think about how do you sell and brand yourself, number one. And then number two, think about how do I develop myself? Track record is very important. You don't just come out, finish a program 2 years, and then all of a sudden you think individuals are going to sift through 1 million people and pick you. It doesn't really work like that. You have to think about, how can I differentiate myself? How can I start building track records with what I have? Don't focus on what you don't have. Think about what you have. A lot of times we just focus on, I don't have this, so that's why I'm not getting this. But think about, maybe there are things I have. How can I shine with these things? How can I propel this thing so that it could always be that sort of differentiating factor for me? So that's what I would want to say regarding this.
Thank you very much, sir. The next question we have here, I think you have answered. I will just mention it. The person was asking that for someone who wants to leave Nigeria to go abroad to work, that how best can they prepare themselves? But I believe that all what you have said, goes in line with how best one can prepare themselves for the ecosystem outside. If you are of great value, if you have done great work, no matter where you get to, people will identify the value and work with you. Another question we have here. So one of our students is saying that he thinks that that there is a real problem to accessing seed fund for startup in Nigeria, aside you having a plan and everything, that there are times when you have a solid plan, you've done the research and things like that, and it's still very difficult to access, the funding you need to go ahead. So he is saying that how best can one navigate situations like this? And sincerely, I think I've had experiences where people have done their homework, they have everything on ground, and they are not able to really even get the support they need. What will you suggest in such a case that such set of people do?
Is that me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's such a funny thing. I'm going to use a very unconventional example.
Okay.
I always believe that a good lady will always find a husband.
Okay.
So,
but there are some good ladies that don't have husband though.
Yeah. So that's me. I'm here to find.
They don't have husbands yet.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's use that. Yes.
So people, it's about what is my definition of being good? Like, okay, so I don't want to go into that detail. So if you have a compelling business plan that you can say, have you tried to write a business plan where all the sub processes in the business plan have details? For instance, you want to create a restaurant. Yeah. Have you gone to a level where your dish that you want to provide in that restaurant is repeatable? You have the details of the measurement of salt, of pepper that must be in 1 liter of soup. Have you tried to do? Yeah. Have you tried to make it in a way that if you make that 1 liter of soup 100 times, it will taste the same? You can't prove that. And you say, I cook very well. I think I can start a restaurant. Have you written out the job description of each of the people you want to have in that restaurant? What exactly are they going to be doing? What value are they going to be creating? Have you written out how much the operational system, the operations will cost you, the equipment, the licenses, the permits, the insurance? Have you gone through all those details? Have you run the analysis of the economics of creating a restaurant? Have you thought about where you're going to get staff from? How you're going to do the recruitment of those staff? Have you thought about the training of those people? So they are just an example of restaurant. There is so much work to do to create a small business plan for a restaurant. Even you, have you run a restaurant before? Have you have you stayed in a kitchen? Have you worked there? But you just think, oh, we don't have enough restaurants in Lekki, and I went to that restaurant the other day. They are not even that good. I can create another restaurant. There are so many people who are looking for restaurants everywhere. That will not fetch you any sponsorship. So there is no solid business plan. I'm telling you right now, if you have a working business plan that you can prove, Canadian government will sponsor the entire thing. They will pay for your trip, for everything. But people have come to me and say, I want to start a transport business, so I need money. There are so many. I go to bus stop between Ajah and Ibeju. People are always there, looking for transport, and there is no vehicle. That's not enough for me to give you money to go and start a transport business. You have no idea how to run the whole operations, how to get a driver, how to manage the permit, how to manage the area boys, how to settle the police, where to even park the car, how to maintain the car, how to repair it, how to keep the money. You have not done anything like that before. So if you create a business plan, maybe people should start from, how do I create a compelling business plan? And if you can sit down and put all your ideas down and fill it, they are on the internet. There are business plan templates. Yeah. So it's if you have a good business plan, you will get a sponsor for it.
And just to add to that, Tayo, I just want to chime in a little bit there, and I think Jide is spot on. And the good thing is you're hearing from Jide and I, who are individuals who have lived in both parts of the world. So we are not oblivious of the challenges existing in Nigeria. You're not speaking to Caucasians whom you feel like, oh, they don't understand what's going on. We understand the challenges. Definitely, we understand that there are limited resources. And across the world, I have lived in different countries where a lot of entrepreneurs too will tell you, like, you know what, yes, we understand the scale, the gravity might be different in some parts of the world. But I think Jide's point is so spot on, because remember, when you are asking money from someone, you're not asking money from a tech guy. You're asking money from a businessman. We don't do logic. We don't do sentiments. We don't do emotions. We don't do how beautiful it is. We need you to be grounded from end to end. So end to end in terms of, like Jide said, you come up with an idea. Someone would want to ask you the marketing. Someone wants to ask you the branding. Someone wants to ask you the financials. If you are not grounded in all pieces, then you become one of the 10,000 people who are approaching you on a daily basis, or who approach that businessman for money. So I think a lot of times the easiest way to really blame some of the challenges we face is based on lack of money. Yes, there are, sometimes we could talk about systemic, but on a personal level, there might be some, issues sometimes. But I think in my experience so far, a lot of times when we get into the nitty-gritty of those discussions, we find out some of it could be based on the business plan not being tightened up, or it could be like individuals not understanding the full model of running a business. It's different if you say to me, Ken, you have a company, I have a solution that can make your company whatever, so I want to work for you. That's a different conversation. But you coming to me say, Ken, I need $10,000, I want to run this business. People typically will grill you. You want to see the end-to-end process, and then if you walk away from that, not getting the money, you think, oh, this is another thing where they just don't want to give money. This is why it's a struggle in Nigeria. But maybe time to go back and think about, how can I hold my skills? How can I sharpen my pitch? Am I missing out on the marketing part? Do I need to provide more compelling arguments or compelling reasons why an individual should take a risk on me? Because at the end of the day, these individuals are taking risk on you. So I think, yes, there are issues. We understand there are scarce resources. We understand some of the challenges. But I think as individuals, we have to really, go ahead and think about, how can we develop ourselves? How can we make those business plans more watertight? How can we expand our business knowledge so that when you're speaking to a businessman, you know what are some of those key things you can mention, which would be like, I think I probably want to give this individual a chance. So this is my perspective on that.
Yeah, thanks. Just one more thing without over-laboring this issue. It's about somebody giving you money so that you can grow the money for that person. So if I'm giving you $1,000, I'm expecting profit back on my money. I'm thinking about, if I put this $1,000 in the bank and I'm getting 5% or 10% per annum, will it be better to leave it in the bank or give it to this person who can run a business and get 20% on that money and give me 15%? So people who have money are not going to do Father Christmas or Mother Christmas. They want to prove that their money will not go down the drain. They want to prove that their money will return back to them and it will grow. Many people in Nigeria have money and they rather keep it in the bank because they are not sure of you. You don't have any proof that if they give you the money, you will not come and tell them stories later that NEPA took light, there was hold up between one place or the other, vehicle broke down, government policy changed. That's why you couldn't deliver. Nobody wants to hear that story. So you need to think through the whole process and ensure that when you're asking money from people, you are convincing them that you are not taking the money, you're not taking them as Father Christmas, that you want to grow their money and return it back to them and also make profit for yourself. That's the only way you can get people to fund you. And I mean, even you individually, you have a few naira in your account. If somebody says, I have this grand plan that is foolproof, give me your 1,000 naira and I can return it back to you. And it's not like all those quick money deal.
Yeah.
You will gladly give that person the 1,000 naira if the person can convince you what the person is using the money for, and there is that assurance that you get your 1,000 naira back, you know, in a period of time with profit.
Thank you very much, sir. I think you did justice to that question. So we have two more questions that I would like us to take in 1 minute so that we can wrap up soon. I think this question is directed to Mr. Ken. The question is around, it said in your ventures linking Africa and Canada, that have you done anything around tourism, the tourism industry? And what are the opportunities in that aspect, in that area that you have seen that people can begin to get into? Let's have your response in about a minute thereabout.
Okay, I'll make this great, and I think it's from Oladejo. Great question. I think the tourism industry is a great industry. I wouldn't say we've made a lot of inroads in that, but one thing I want to question, I'm part of like a not-for-profit organization where we're focusing on ocean technology capacity between West Africa and Canada. It's called DOTCAN, DOTCAN, so you can check it out later. DOTCAN Africa. So basically, one of the key things we are looking into, you're talking about ocean technology, but one of the key things we are looking into is sustainable tourism. And in the line of that work, I have been able to understand how there's so much opportunities we are missing out on tourism, especially in terms of like using like the ships and some of those boats for tourism reasons. So I was privileged to be in Cape Verde 2 years ago, where I've seen how much work they have done. You know, they have all these holiday cruise ships and all of these pieces whereby they stop in Mindelo and continue. So, you know, it's a booming stuff for them. A place like Nigeria, there is a lot of work to be done and there's opportunities there. I mean, unfortunately, it could be a bit capital intensive, but I think there might still be opportunities to even start it small and scale it up. So yes, there are opportunities in tourism. I can speak mainly about ocean piece of tourism. There's so much we've not tapped in, just like the blue economy as a whole. So definitely something, you know, and I'm more than happy to provide more information about the DOTCAN thing. Like afterwards, I can provide it to Tayo and you can share it with the individual who asked the question.
Great. Thank you very much, sir. The final question is to Mr. Jide, and it's from Ayomide Sam Balogun. He's saying that that you mentioned that Facebook and others gather enough data and information already, and that he knows people that have the idea and have built things like that, and the apps die off so fast. They say, does it mean that we can't venture into successful establishments or niche that are already booming? I believe you get the question.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I also digress just a little bit. I use the example of a vulcanizer. You know, around, you see vulcanizers around, they collect 10 naira, 20 naira to do their job, and they put a bar around your tire and all that. So somebody looks at that work and say, how can I improve this mechanic work, this vulcanizer job? There are vulcanizers everywhere, but can I have a place where people can sit down comfortably, not on top of gutter? Can I use available current technology to fix their tire without using a bar? Can I do a tire that is reliable, that it's not like you fix the tire now, an hour later the thing goes down? Surely there is a lot to improve around a vulcanizer's job.
Yeah.
Right? So it is that improvement that you are selling to the people. You are showing them a value. So let's give an example of Facebook. Facebook is already there. It's big. It's got millions of people on it. So if you want to create something else around Facebook, you have to improve on what ideas do you have to improve on what Facebook has done. What areas are they not covering that you want to cover? So some people think of, okay, I can't face Facebook. let me go and do Instagram, which comes with a different idea, or Twitter, which do something totally different, or TikTok, which is totally different from Facebook and Instagram, and so. But these are little ideas that develop. So you cannot reinvent the wheel and expect people to pursue to patronize you because, well, this is an African Facebook, so people should use it. No, because it's not better than what we have. It's not more robust. It's not more flexible. It's something that is already existing that you are creating. So why would people use it? So instead of creating something that is already been created, you can exploit how to use what is already created if you don't have totally new idea. So like in Nigeria, people say they are building cars. You go and carry a machine from that thing they use in granny pepper. You remove the machine and put it in a case and say you have built a car. That's not how to build a car. That's just being stupid. And you now say people didn't sponsor you. You can build a car. You can build. You go and buy all those toys that people use and put a case on it and it's flying. You say you can build a plane. You didn't build anything. You're just collecting ideas and putting it together. So let it be original. Let it solve a problem. Ask yourself, what is the pain of my audience that I'm taking away? If you're taking away somebody's pain by the products you are giving out, the person will pay for it. People will use it. Start small and grow bigger. That's my idea.
Thank you very much, sir. On this note, we'll be saying our final thank you. And I just want to share, the rest of the class with you. So please put your hands together for me. We've had such an amazing time. We've had such an amazing time with you today. Thank you very much, sirs. And that we had to even wake you up very early to join us this morning. Thank you very much. We really have learned a lot from the session. And we all say thank you to you. Thank you very much for coming on board. We just like to take your final comment each, then we close out. So, Mr. Ajide, can you your final comment, then we close out. Thank you.
Well, thanks for this opportunity. I want to say, always think about creating value. Always thinking about innovations. Always thinking about hard work. The rest will come later. All the money, all the affluence will come. But ensure you can create value. Ensure you are putting innovations in it. Ensure you're working hard enough. You're putting all your effort in it. Be focused. The rest will come later.
Thank you very much for that very important advice. Mr. Ken, let's hear from you, sir.
Yeah, first of all, I want to congratulate you, Tayo, for the amazing job you're doing. I got inspired the first time you got in touch with me, and I think you've identified something great, and I know you're onto something big, so keep doing it. And I also want to congratulate everyone there, because I understand it's challenging, but, the most important thing is consistency. You need to stay consistent, keep doing what you're doing. You have actually overcome the biggest hurdle, which is the skills. You are acquiring the skills. That is the biggest thing. The next thing after that would then be in terms of how do I sharpen those skills and how do I differentiate myself. So I miss all the challenges. I miss all those days you wake up and it feels like nothing is happening. You just got to keep persevering and being consistent, and somehow your breakthrough will come. So, keep up the hard work, keep up the, unity as a group, keep your mind straight, stay focused, and, hopefully someday you would actually win that trophy which you aspire to win. So, good job and congratulations to you all.
Please, I think that deserves a round of applause. Thank you. So on that note, we'll say thank you very much for joining us, for everybody joining us online. Thank you for joining us today. It's been a great time. And thank you very much, sirs. We are sure that next time that any time we call on you, you'll be available to also aid our call.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming today.
We will always
Thank
be.
you.